Hi, I'm Sandra, 32 years old and fresh out of law school. I've been hustling at a small firm and recently moved into this cute little house with a gorgeous garden. It's nothing grand, but it's mine, and I love it. Then I met Derek. Tall, handsome, and rich. His family had more money than I'd ever seen. We fell for each other fast, and before I knew it, we were saying our vows. At first, it felt like a fairy tale. Derek was sweet, supportive, and surprisingly, he loved my garden almost as much as I did. And then I met his mother, Vivian. Vivian was a force. The first time she visited our home, she glanced around like she'd walked into something unpleasant. "Oh, darling," she cooed, her voice laced with false sweetness. "How quaint. I suppose this is charming for someone of your background." I bit my tongue so hard I tasted blood. Derek squeezed my hand and whispered, "Ignore her, babe. She's just being mom." But it didn't stop there. At every family dinner and holiday, Vivian found a way to remind me I didn't belong in her world. "Quaint, dear, do try the foie gras." "Oh wait, you probably don't know what that is." Derek would always jump to my defense. "Mom, knock it off. Sandra's a lawyer, not an idiot." I appreciated his support, but a part of me wished he'd just tell her to back off entirely. Things hit a breaking point at the annual family barbecue. I had spent weeks perfecting my garden, planting colorful flowers, setting up a little vegetable patch. When Vivian arrived, she wrinkled her nose in disgust. "Oh, Sandra, you didn't actually spend money on this, did you? It looks so cheap." "Derek, darling, you really should hire a proper landscaper. This looks like something from a trailer park." The silence that followed was suffocating. My face burned with embarrassment, and tears stung at the corners of my eyes. Before I could respond, Derek finally stepped in. "That's enough, Mom." But after the barbecue, the tension only grew. Vivian seemed to be around constantly, her presence like a dark cloud over our home. She dropped by unannounced, offering unsolicited advice on everything: our decor, our meals. "Darling," she'd say to Derek, "you simply must replace these interesting curtains Sandra chose. They're not exactly fitting for someone of your status." At first, Derek brushed her off, but gradually, I noticed a shift. He'd start eyeing our furniture with a critical gaze or make comments about my outfits. One evening, as I was getting ready for a work dinner, Derek frowned. "Don't you have something a little more sophisticated?" I felt like I'd been slapped. "What's wrong with this? I thought you liked this dress." He shrugged. "It's fine, I guess. Mom just mentioned it might not be appropriate for certain events." I bit my tongue, trying to avoid a fight, but the whole exchange left me rattled. Things finally came to a head when I was leaving for a week-long conference. As I packed, Vivian swooped in, all fox concern. "Oh, Sandra, leaving Derek all alone. I do hope he'll manage without you." Forcing a smile, I replied, "I'm sure he'll survive, Vivian. It's just a week." But as I boarded my flight, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Throughout the conference, my thoughts kept drifting back home. Derek's phone calls became shorter, his tone more distant. By the time I was heading back, I was a bundle of nerves. Nothing could have prepared me for what I saw when I pulled into the driveway. Where my beautiful garden once stood, there was now a garish pool, complete with fake rock formations and a tacky tiki bar. My heart dropped. I stumbled out of the car. "Derek, what have you done to my garden?" He stepped out, looking sheepish. "Surprise? Surprise? What have you done?" Before he could answer, Vivian appeared, smug as ever. "Oh, Sandra, don't be so dramatic. We've improved your little patch. Now you have a proper entertaining space." I looked to Derek, desperate for support, but he wouldn't even meet my eyes. "Babe, Mom thought it would be a nice surprise. You've always said you wish we could entertain more." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. They destroyed something I loved, something I'd nurtured for years. Vivian tasked, "Really, Sandra, you should be grateful. That pool costs more than your entire house." That's when I snapped. "Grateful? For what?" "For you coming into my home and destroying something I cared about. For undermining me at every turn. For turning my own husband against me." Derek finally looked at me, his face hardening. "That's enough, Sandra. You're being hysterical. Mom was just trying to do something nice for us. You should be grateful." In that moment, I saw just how far gone Derek was, how completely Vivian had sunk her claws into him. It felt like I was drowning, standing there in front of that monstrosity of a pool. Grateful? I whispered. Right. Well, here's what I'm grateful for, Derek. I'm grateful that I now know exactly where I stand in this marriage, and it's clearly not by your side. I turned and walked back to my car, ignoring Derek's frantic calls. As I drove away, I caught a glimpse of Vivian in my rearview mirror. She was smiling, triumphant. But this wasn't over, not by a long shot. Vivian might think she'd won, but she had no idea who she was messing with. It was time to show her, and Derek, exactly what this cheap girl from the wrong side of the tracks was capable of. That night, I ended up at Zoe's place, spilling my guts over a bottle of wine. Girl, that woman is straight up crazy, Zoe said, shaking her head. And Derek? He needs to grow a spine. I sighed. Tell me about it. I just don't know what to do anymore. You focus on you, Zoe said, her voice firm. Show them what you're made of. And that's exactly what I did. I threw myself into work, taking on extra cases and staying late at the office. Before long, I was making waves at the firm. One night, I overheard Derek on the phone with his dad. I don't have dad, Mom's been acting weird lately. She bought a yacht last week. A yacht. We don't even live near water. My lawyer senses tingled. Something wasn't adding up. At the next family dinner, I casually brought up investments with Derek's dad. Oh, Vivian handles all that, he said, waving his hand dismissively. She's got quite the knack for it. But his eyes told a different story. That's when I started digging, using every skill I'd honed working on white-collar crime cases. What I found made my jaw drop. Vivian wasn't just spending recklessly, she was bleeding the family dry. Risky investments, secret accounts, even what looked like embezzlement from Derek's trust fund. I tried to talk to Derek about it, but he shut me down hard. Don't be ridiculous, Sandra, he snapped. Mom knows what she's doing. Just because you grew up poor doesn't mean you understand how real money works. His words stung, but they also lit a fire inside me. I might not have grown up with real money, but I knew the law, and what Vivian was doing wasn't just unethical, it was illegal. I started gathering evidence, meticulously documenting every transaction and shady deal. If Derek wouldn't listen, I'd make sure someone would. One night, Zoe caught me burning the midnight oil at the office. Spill it, she demanded. What's got you looking like you haven't slept in a week? I hesitated, then laid it all out. Zoe's eyes widened with every word. Holy crap, Sandra, this is big. What are you going to do? I took a deep breath. I'm going to take her down, Zoe, not just for me, but for Derek and his entire family. They might not appreciate me now, but I'll be damned if I let Vivian ruin them. Zoe nodded, a slow smile spreading across her face. Count me in. That woman doesn't know who she's messing with. As we started planning, I felt a surge of determination. Vivian thought she'd won when she destroyed my garden, but she had only planted the seeds of her own downfall. The next few weeks were a blur of late nights and secret meetings. I called in favors, dug deeper into Vivian's past, and built an airtight case. Meanwhile, Derek was falling deeper under his mother's spell, criticizing everything I did, from my clothes to my cooking. But I barely noticed. I was too focused on the endgame. One night, as I was reviewing some documents, I stumbled upon something that made my blood run cold. Vivian wasn't just mismanaging the family's money, she was secretly funneling it into offshore accounts. This was it, the smoking gun I needed. I leaned back in my chair, my mind racing. With this evidence, I could bring Vivian down for good. But it also meant exposing Derek's family to public scrutiny and potential financial ruin. For a moment, I hesitated. Despite everything, a part of me still cared about Derek. Did I really want to do this to him? Then I remembered the garden, the constant put-downs, and the way he'd chosen Vivian over me, again and again. My resolve hardened. This wasn't just about revenge, it was about justice. If Derek couldn't see that, well, that was on him. I picked up my phone and dialed Zoe's number. It's time, I said when she answered. We're taking Vivian down. Taking a deep breath, I laid out the files on the dining room table. Derek, we need to talk. He sighed. What now, Sandra? Another issue with Mom. Just look, I said, pushing the documents toward him. At first he was dismissive, but as he read through the evidence, his face went pale. This can't be right. It is, I said firmly. Your mother has been embezzling from your family for years. Derek shook his head, unable to process it. We need to talk to Dad. The family meeting was a disaster. Vivian screeched and denied everything. But the evidence was irrefutable. Her erratic behavior only confirmed my concerns about her mental state. You ungrateful little gold digger, she screamed at me. After everything I've done for this family. That's when Derek finally snapped out of this fog. Enough, Mom. Look at yourself. Months passed. Vivian went into treatment and the family began to heal. As for me, I was thriving. I had started my own law firm, specializing in financial fraud cases. The irony wasn't lost on me. With my success came the ability to buy my dream home. The first thing I did, plant a garden. But not just any garden. This one was spectacular, filled with rare flowers and winding paths. It was everything I had ever wanted, and more. I smiled, feeling a sense of pride I had never experienced before. This was all mine. I had built this from the ground up. I had faced down classism, toxic relationships, and come out on top. I thought about Derek and Vivian, about all the times they had made me feel small. But now, sitting in my own piece of paradise, I felt nothing but gratitude. They had tried to break me, but instead they had made me stronger. As the sun set, casting a golden glow over my flowers, I smiled. This garden, this home, this life, it was all mine, and I had earned every single bit of it. This was my happily ever after, on my own terms. And it was more perfect than I could have ever imagined. And that's the end of Sandra's journey. Now here's a question for you. Was Sandra right to expose Vivian's financial misdeeds, even though it could potentially harm Derek's family? Or should she have found another way to address the situation? This isn't just about right and wrong. It's about the gray areas we navigate in toxic relationships. Where do we draw the line between loyalty and self-preservation? Drop your thoughts in the comments.